It definitely did not come with a case.
Well, you're already recording this. I don't even have confirmation from Lyle that he's said, let me.
What does that?
I said, let me know when you see the invite. Yeah, I don't know that.
I think this is a good time to play around with the audio, though. Like,
yes, and don't forget Mark Clip.
Yeah,
you have one job to do.
I know. I have two jobs. I have to sit here.
Yeah.
The first job.
Yeah. So, obviously pretty excited. Lyle coming on. But I never know what he's going to say. So then it's like, okay, afterwards, is it damage control or is it, what are we getting ourselves into?
Yeah. Yeah, there's no way to predict what we could possibly end up talking about.
No, I just hope he wears a shirt.
Yeah.
We'll see. Okay, he's texting me. Okay, we're ready. Click the link.
I think the only time I've ever been on a Zoom call with Lyle. Well, no, 2 times. The one time he was making coffee, and so he just put the iPad on the countertop, and all I could see was like up his nose the whole time as he was talking to me. And then the second time he didn't have a shirt on, so round 3 could be anything.
Yeah, I tried. Well, I didn't talk to him. I prepped him. Put a shirt on, put some AirPods in.
Yeah,
we'll see. And now timing, we'll never know when he goes. So Chelsea last night, we were talking about the rain. You and I were talking about the rain yesterday, and she said she looked back in her diary note thing, and this time last year we had already spent 4 nights sleeping in our basement because of how hot it was outside. And we haven't done that once this year. We've had some nice days, though. But, man, the rain every afternoon.
Yeah, that's funny because last night I get home, just speaking about the rain, we've been putting up with our gutter overflowing onto our front step for like 3 weeks straight. Like, it just pours over onto our front step. So I'm like, Megan, I'm going to climb up a ladder and I'm going to clean out this gutter. Even though I cleaned it in the fall, like I took all the leaves out in the fall. It should be good. I don't know why it's doing this. So I get down into my tidy whities because I don't want my shirt to get wet or anything. And I put like a parka on over top, climb up a ladder, and the gutter's empty. There's nothing in the gutter. So like, well, why is it overflowing? So it's obviously plugged at the far end. So then I go to the far end and here a shingle fell off my roof and plugged the hole. So all I had to do was lift a shingle up, and now we don't have a waterfall on our front step.
So same thing for me 2 nights ago. It's coming over the top, but it's not. And anyway, I grab the ladder, I go outside, but not in tidy whities. And the kids must have smacked a birdie, badminton birdie up there.
A shuttlecock.
Shuttlecock. And it made its way into the gutter and then clogged up. It must have been sitting there for a long time now because it just had all sorts of gunk in it. Pull that out. And I'm like,
yeah. And
then anyway, we were full on, but it was good after that.
Yeah. Yeah, the things that finally, it takes a little bit of time, right? We think it's not going to rain for 3 weeks straight, whatever. Your gutter overflows for a couple days. You can live with that. But going on week 3, you start bringing out ladders and stuff to solve problems.
Oh, yeah. Bam. We're live. I forgot that part. We're live.
Oh, yeah.
4 minutes live. 4 minutes in. Bam. We're live.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Lawrence, a life story, posted to Spotify. I see it here. Good disclaimer. Jump to 8 minutes, 30 seconds. because it took us that long to get organized. We might be doing the same.
And even
thing. We might have another disclaimer for this show.
This one might be 45 minutes in by the time Lyle gets on here. And
If
okay.
He just sent me a message. Joining studio is only available from the desktop.
Unless maybe he has to download the app then. That could be a problem.
I think he's on the iPad. Let's shoot. What do I tell him to do? Try and just get on his phone? But then the video is going to be shitty as he tries to hold that up. He's trying to do it from his iPad so the video is better.
So, did he download the Riverside app?
No.
Do you know? And did Fuzz do that yesterday? Is that how he got on?
Yeah. Or go to App Store and download Riverside. I'll see if I can share that. App Store Riverside.fm. Oops.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to email the link to myself, and then I'm going to try and text him the link. That won't really help him. Oh, I'll try it.
I'll send this to him. There, I sent him the app. We'll see if you can get that. Download that, and hopefully good to go. And then, well, while we're sitting here on this, holy, a couple days ago, Whitecap buying up assets, $1.9 billion in cash. That's how crazy this industry is.
Yeah, that's wild. That is crazy. Just seeing if I
we'll have to get some.
This will help.
Okay, he says it's loading on my iPhone. Eventually we'll get there. Yeah,
So
Whitecap. This Imperial. You are too, actually. And you're frozen on the video. So am I. We're going to have to... But now you're all right. You're caught up.
Sorry, I'm just texting Lyle a link. I don't know if this is going to help him.
Okay, he's also downloading the app, so hopefully that'll work too.
So, yeah, what do you think about Whitecap there, Ben?
Well, we'll have to get somebody more expert than me. Yeah, we'll have to get somebody more expert than me on it. But the interesting to me is the all cash component of it. Obviously, a lot of these oil companies sitting on a lot of cash. Am I breaking up because we're frozen again?
Man, you cut out there. Sorry, Ben. I cannot hear you.
There. I think we're back. Can you hear me?
So choppy. Cannot hear you.
Jeez. We're going to have to upgrade the office.
Oh, yeah. Both. It's on both ends, eh? Yeah. Our internet's bad. I didn't catch any of what you said.
Well, the most interesting component to me right now is just that it's an all cash deal and how much money these oil companies are sitting on, and rightfully so because they're making their balance sheets. That's what they need to be doing. Shoot, Lyle's calling. 1 second. Hello.
Yeah.
Oh, did you get the link that Nathan sent you? I think you just have to click that link that Nathan sent you.
Yeah, once he has the app, if he can just click that link, it'll open up the Riverside app automatically, and then he just has to enter his name.
Sorry? Yes. Yep. Well, it should just say enter studio. Yep. Yep, you're good. All right. We think, well, on my end, I'm getting us the circle of there. Yeah, I don't see you coming on yet, but it looks on your side. Is it almost in? Well, that'll take it straight up and down. If you're set sideways on your iPad, then... Okay, then yeah, click that. I think so. Yep. There we go.
Oh, here he is. Yes.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, there. I just wanted to see who was. What are we doing? Do I need a rum and coke or something?
Yeah.
Can you?
That might be the best start.
Now, I think the problem is right now is I don't have you guys connected on my earphones on the iPad. They're connected on my phone. I think that's what's happening.
Okay, but we can see you and hear you pretty good now. Shit.
Okay, Bluetooth is on. AirPods connected. iPad. No. Can I swipe up here and go to my settings?
Yep.
Okay, and then I don't know if I'll be able to get back. We'll see. Should I try it?
Yep.
Okay, so I'll take my Bluetooth off on my phone. Okay.
This just is getting worse. Come on.
Careful. Say I can hear you. Okay, iPhone, Bluetooth is on. iPhone Pro Pencil.
I can't hear anything now.
iPad.
Yeah, I can hear you, Ben.
Hang on, it's trying to find.
Oh, now I can.
You still there? Can you guys hear me? Okay,
Oh yeah,
it's spinning here.
You're coming through loud and clear.
The iPad, and it's got the pros are loaded, but it's not giving me my iPad loaded yet or connected. So what do I do?
So we're just coming through your iPad, right, Lyle? Not through your AirPods?
Yeah, you're coming through the iPad, but not my.
Nathan, if you talk, because I can't hear you in my.
It says my AirPods are loaded. Why does it not want to grab this iPad?
There we go.
Hang on. I'll do a reset. Yeah, well,
Take
I
your
don't have
time.
that much time, so okay. Let's see what's going on. AirPods are connected. Why will it not connect to this silly iPad?
So you can't hear us very well?
Oh, you're coming in now. Do that again.
Can you hear us very well?
Yeah, I got you clear now, Ben, on my Pros, on my AirPods.
Awesome. Good. We can hear you.
Okay.
Just swipe back to
Nice.
that screen and then
Sweet.
your video will work again, I think.
Screen. Riverside. Okay, I think we did it.
There, we see you.
Okay, you used up
Nice.
you used up 3 of the 10 minutes I got, so you got 7 minutes left.
Hey, that's all we need. That's all we need. Can you see yourself? Do you look centered in the video? You look off to the right on mine. Or maybe there you go.
How's that?
Perfect. Yeah,
There
as
we
long as
go.
you make yourself look
Yeah,
centered, it'll
that's
be
better.
better for the recording.
Okay, so what do I do? Just look at you guys?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I had a good day going.
Yeah, so did I. Ish.
Not my problem. Not my problem. For what you're paid, for what I'm getting paid, I don't need to be, looking good.
Wait, are we paying you? We shouldn't. That's
Well, just my groceries.
just the groceries. What we have, Lyle here. Thanks for joining in. I'm getting a little feedback in my headphone, but hopefully that's nothing. There we go. Thanks for joining in, Lyle. Nathan and I were testing something new. I was texting you last night, invited you last minute, see if you could jump on and explore this with us. And what I prepped you for is not what I'm going to even ask you a question about. So where are you at right now?
In my life, or where I'm sitting?
Yeah, good clarification. Where you're sitting. Where are you at?
I'm sitting at the Okanagan Lake in Kelowna, BC.
Oh, nice. And it's finally
Nice.
turning. Good weather out there.
Yes, sir.
There we go. So, one question. I've only got you for 7 minutes. We'll see. I don't know if we'll be able to get you to shut up once we get you started. Why is it
Probably not.
that all of these Saskatchewan farmers seem to have made it into the corner offices in Calgary? Your generation of oil and gas industry professionals, everyone that I meet seems to have come from Saskatchewan. Why is that?
Well, I think in my generation back then in the 60s, we were born in the 50s, most of us, and we didn't have a whole lot of choices coming from the farm. It was either go to work for the railway, the mines, or the oil industry. And the oil industry where we lived in southeast Saskatchewan was all around us. So there was always work, and it was kind of a place to gravitate to for those young farm boys.
And okay, and so, but everybody, why were they leaving the farm? I mean, I know you, I know a bit of your story, but was a lot of the generation leaving the farm because they didn't want to do what their dads were doing, their grandpas were doing, or was the oil and gas industry something new? What was attracting that group of men to that industry?
It was decent pay to be able to buy your car because there was no money on the farm to be doing those kind of things for the majority of the farm boys. And, the majority of the farm boys all had only one thing that they were taught, and that was, if you didn't work, you didn't eat. So you took that with you. And so most guys that worked the oil industry that chose to stay in the industry knew that, it was ingrained in them. Work and you eat, and you can amass some the things that you need in life, support your family and carry on. That's all we knew.
Yeah. And did you ever consider yourself or your family poor? Like, did you realize that you guys didn't have much when you were growing up?
Absolutely not. None of us ever thought of ourselves as being poor. We were never hungry. We were never cold. We just got up and did what we were told to do. But we also knew that if we stayed on the farm, that we would be the recipient of our father's we'd be the best hired man that he had, and most of us wanted more than that. We wanted to be the leaders.
Yeah, and your entire family was like that. Well, from what everything that I know about your family, everybody wanted to be a leader, and they all took a slightly different path, but a lot of oil and gas and lead. Why? What was it in you that wanted to be a leader?
I didn't realize that, other than I knew that I didn't want to be told what to do every day, and that's what you were brought up, how you were raised on most farms, was you were told what to do every day, which tractor, which field to work in, and the majority of us wanted to be in a position we knew that we had more capability. We wanted to be decision makers. We wanted to be those visionary guys.
Yeah, and I've been to your family's farm and the house that you grew up in, and it's do you look back on it and go, wow, yeah, we were poor? Or like, I know you didn't think that growing up, but then when you look back on your life now, do you go, holy, like, we really didn't have much. My dad invested it all in equipment and land and bins and in the farming lifestyle. So do you look back on it and think, yeah, we were poor, or still no?
Never.
No.
Never.
Huh.
Didn't know what poor meant, but there was poor farmers. There was farmers there that literally it was not, and those were the ones that just either had the bad luck, or they just hadn't figured it out how to make that land produce and pay the bills.
And I like that you used leader early on, but I would probably, if somebody was asking me, give me a couple words to describe Lyle, the word that would always come to my mind first and foremost would be entrepreneur. And that's a word that's thrown out a lot, at least in my generation or Nathan's generation. It's all over the place in the news and YouTube and all these different things. Everybody wants to be this entrepreneur. I have never considered myself an entrepreneur, and knowing your story, I think I could safely say I could never do what you did. Is there ever a time in your life when you figured out I'm an entrepreneur, or were you just doing it?
There's the word entrepreneur. We wouldn't be able to spell it with a grade 9 education, let alone know what the heck it actually meant. And more importantly, it was just that we knew that if you worked hard and you could, in most cases, have success. When we knew that what we had as you accumulated a piece of equipment was, if we look after it and you do what you say you're going to do and never overpromise and underdeliver, that we would have some success. And it came very quickly when customers that you called on, when you realized there was a need for a product that you had, very seldom did they not call you back. And they liked the energy of youth. That generation ahead of me, their whole culture was based on probably harder working than we ever imagined, with less tools, less technology, which we didn't have much back then. And they were always, so many of them were supportive of the young buck running around, putting in the hours and providing what he said he would, or she.
Wow. The generation ahead of you, less tools. Because you guys didn't have much to work with.
Not really, but we had 4-wheel drive pickups.
Or
a set of tire chains.
Yeah, when did you buy your first 4-wheel drive pickup?
1980. I started supplying 4-wheel drive pickups for my staff in about 1989. 1990. Up until then. Yeah, and up until then, they drove 2-wheel drive pickups with a 6-speed inline, 5-speed transmission, and a set of tire chains.
And the way that I heard the story, and I heard it from Mike, was he kept telling you what the guys were driving in wasn't enough. They needed 4-wheel drive, and you kept going, no. And then you finally took a ride with Mike and went, what are we doing? And then you finally then bought a 4-wheel drive pickup. Is that how you remember it?
Fairly correct. It was, because a lot of the guys didn't want to chain up, so we wanted to give them the tools to get to the location. So when I realized what a four-wheel drive could do, I went, okay, yeah, you're right, let's do it. So we started buying four-wheel drives. I think I have still one of the original 1990s out at the farm.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great truck.
And Lyle, I'm just going to jump in here. Wasn't there a period before the pickups where you guys were driving Crown Vics?
No, as a service.
Is that
hand,
an old wives' tale?
For the most of this, like when I was a service hand working for a Nausco or back then Dallas Schlumberger, we drove two-wheel drive cars, Crown Vics or Chev Impalas. And then when I went back and got some education and got hired on as a company man, we drove cars, two-wheel drive cars with a skid plate from the front bumper to the back of the transmission and tow hooks that could accommodate a half-inch towing chain and a cable. So the D8 Cat could pull you in, or the 6 wide pad. So we floated them in.
And that was just because they were cheaper or more available than a pickup truck?
They were just cheaper. And
nobody questioned?
And that's just the way they did it. And it was two-wheel drive cars.
Yeah, that's
and they didn't give us tire
crazy.
Chains for a car.
Hard to imagine.
So if it couldn't get in on its own, you had to call for
I remember
6-cat wide truck.
And that's wild because I grew up in a period of my life where we drove a Crown Vic, and it had studded tires, and I remember it getting stuck in the snow when my mom drove me on my paper route. So
yeah.
It's yeah.
Yeah, well,
you guys would have been getting drug around all the time.
We always had a Caterpillar. It was all we needed.
So, Lyle, you're chairman of the board, Apex. You've kind of already referenced it, but you were a grade 9 dropout, fair to say?
No. I made it through grade 9 on the second go. But grade 10 was a dropout.
Great.
By then I was old enough to lie on my resume and get a job on a rig at 17. So
after the second time around, perfect. I love that part of your story, and we don't have a ton of time today, so we'll get more into it. But just as a real quick overview, you then eventually found education to be very important to, I think, where you wanted to be in life. So you went grade 10 dropout, worked the farm, right? But then didn't want to take orders and knew it was going to be maybe your dad's way for the rest of your life. So went to the oil industry, fair to say, and then eventually went back and got education.
Well, I think in simplicity, that part for me was, I signed up for a 1-year stint overseas with Dallas Schlumberger, and of course, I was looking for an exotic position somewhere where there was beaches and sand and lots of fun. And I ended up on the beaches of Iran, up in an area where there was nothing but desert to get there, and there was nobody on the beaches. And what I realized there was that us guys with the mechanical skills, so to speak, and the ability to figure out high horsepower machinery and high pressure pumps, we were hired, guys like me, to go over there. And it was a steady flow of young engineers that were sent to the field to spend 2 or 3 months and to learn as much as they could what was actually happening operationally in the field. And then they would move on, go to another segment of Dallas Schlumberger, and then those guys would all end up in, in positions of management or in places where. So when I realized that after 1 year was, well, this is what I'm going to be doing. And I'll always be, I felt, a superintendent, and those young guys would accelerate past you in Mach 1. So it was like, okay, that made sense to me. So let's go back and do what I got to do and get enough schooling to be able to at least get a petroleum technology, and then went on to get the paperwork done to become a certified engineering technologist, which gave me the door opener and stepped right into an oil company. Back then, Pan Canadian, now Encana, and I was handed a supervisor's job as a summer student in day one, and it was, I had a little bit of schooling, 1 year of petroleum, and you got the background on the rigs, the service sector, and it was like, here, get to work. And it was that simple back then. And then I realized that, yeah, I was meant to be. I was very good at supervising. I was very good at organizing. Getting rigs set up. I was very good at what was going on down the hole, and I enjoyed it. I loved it. This was never work. I'd have gladly paid them or taken no salary. It was just that much fun.
And you felt that after then you went for Canada? Jeez.
Pan Canadian. Once I got that summer job, I knew that I was well connected into the, what my personal objectives were, and that was to be in supervision, to be in middle management, so to speak, and had a long ways to go. But I had those old boys from the 50s that were my direct mentors, and it was surreal because you're dealing with those guys that absolutely had come to that corner office through hard work. There was very few graduate engineers back then in the 70s.
And so from the time that you left school at 17, how old were you when you went back? And
when I went back to school, I was 24.
And what was that like? I think you've described it like you were pretty humbled because you were then sitting around trying to finish a high school education as a 23, 24-year-old. But you were just that motivated after that year overseas, hey?
Oh, absolutely. It was driven. There was no way of failure. It was higher. I had tutors. I was strong in math and physics, weak in English, as everybody still knows today. And so, hired tutors, did what I had to do, and pulled off enough matric in 9 months to be able to accept into U of A or into back then SAIT, which is still around today. So if you completed that course and got your grades and your math, 30s and whatnot, then boom, they'd take you. You were mature students, and we were the ones that finished. There would have been only, when I signed up, there'd be 60 or 70 guys in there and females, and probably wasn't 20 of us that finished. But we were more the mature guys. The young guys were, it's just another place to go for 3 months. So.
And those older men that you were saying you were mentors, where did they come from? Was it already a thing to be coming from the farms in Saskatchewan, or where? Absolutely.
These guys were salt of the earth. They came from nothing, and when they were poor, and they grew up these guys would have been born in the 40s, 35, some of them in the 30s, and they were now superintendents in their 50s and late 40s, but had most of them very little education, and they were poor. They were coming out of the emerging of the dirty 30s, and those were the guys that were they were the pillars, they were the foundation, they were the guys that could get things happening and drilling, and it was pretty low technology. Fracking was already a thing, but nothing like it is today.
Yeah. What does dirty 30s mean?
Well, through Western Canada in the 30s, in the Western, it was droughts. There was a recession. There was no money. People rode the trains. People did where they went to work wherever they could find jobs, working on they just did whatever they had to do. There was just a, severe climate change back in the 30s. So, that created a lot of hardship, not only on the farms, but in the cities.
Yeah.
And towns, small towns. These were people that they were poor. But then everything evolved. Everything started coming back around after the Second World War. The war was over in 45, and then the economy started to come back. Manufacturing. There was opportunity, and those guys were in their 20s. The ones that came back from the war, the ones that didn't go, and they just knew how to work, and that's how they had to get her done.
And so at 17, was it was it early 70s then when you first entered the oil industry, or late 60s?
1969.
1969. Wow.
And for those that can't do the math, that's 53 years ago. And for those that can't do the math, I'll be 70 this year.
Lyle, it's already been, well, we started video recording 30 minutes ago, but we were messing around and trying to get things uploaded and getting you on. So I really don't want to take too much more of your time, because I want you to come back and have a good experience. So I think if we keep it in short bursts, it'll be good. If I could just ask you one more question, and this is, I guess I maybe did kind of prep you for this, and I was mentioning it earlier before you were getting on. Whitecap just bought some assets, $1.9 billion in cash. Had you seen that?
No.
What does that mean for our industry when a company like Whitecap is, and great to work for? We do work with them. Also Imperial, XTO, all those guys, we do work with them. So all these companies are great to work for as a service company. But when you see $1.9 billion cash deals happening right now, what's that telling you?
It tells me the silos are right full of money. There is a lot of fluff and powder. It's been piling up, and the true story, in these times, those with cash and wealth are going to get much wealthier in those corporations. And, that's another example of, how much cash is sitting out there that people are still willing to put into the industry, and see this as another decade or two of change, which has been happening, since the first wooden derrick went up in California, and it'll continue. So it's adjusting to the world and the industry, no different than when they decided that we had to have catalytic converters back in the 70s. So that was their emergence, and then the next was the unleaded gas, and it just keeps changing. And if the universe isn't going to keep it the same because of the population and the demand and the supply, and everybody has a voice now, as we well know if you're watching anything. And it's no longer driven by whatever, the Mag 7, I guess you might say. But so we're gonna see that powder come and opportunities, and that $1.9 billion will probably come back to them, and they, in very little time, given that they're bet, and they're seeing it from a different perspective than Imperial, XTO and Imperial. They've been changing Esso. My oldest brother started with them as a 19-year-old and ended his career after 45 years or whatever with them. And they've never stayed the same. They know when to sell off, or what they say, no, this isn't what we want to be. So, or they could be like, what's their names there in Norway?
The Equinors?
The oil and gas company. Yeah, the Equinors of the world changed their name and just pushed their rigs further offshore where nobody can see them. And they're still going to produce oil and meet demand. They're just going to do it in a different way. So XTO will take that $1.9 billion and put it somewhere else in energy, guaranteed, of some sort. And they're just going to take and remove themselves. And this has been going on since the Gulf oils of the day, and the Pan-Canadians. These guys, there's been many billion-dollar plus deals in the last 40 years.
Yeah.
And it's not going to change. So it's a corporate redirection, or the image that they want to present to the world, because they're known around the world. So
for service companies out there, what do you think we should be on the lookout for? What then does that mean for us? Yeah, what's that mean for us when we see deals like that being done?
As a service provider, is obviously if you're stuck in what worked 10 years ago, you're not going to survive. And if you're sitting there thinking that you can go to the bank and refinance to restructure, then you're just heading clearly for disaster. But more importantly is that knowing that today what you provide is not going to be, it's not a growth mode. Like there's very few companies like an Apex that would be in wanting to do more growth through manufacturing, and is to identify clearly, knowing that you don't need to spend more. You can just deal with what you got and make it as economical as you possibly can. So other than that, it'll just be another, be smart, be wise, do things with cash, and you'll be just fine.
Yeah. Lyle, thanks for joining. Thanks for working through some of those technical difficulties to get you on. We'll obviously have you on again, because there's a lot more to your story and some interesting things that I'll be able to throw in here and there with the stories that you tell my kids at night, as they so often love to hear. So thanks, Lyle. Appreciate you coming on. And what you'll end up doing now, you'll push that leave studio button, and then you'll just want to wait until it fully uploads. So don't close your iPad and close anything down. But
you gotta tell me where the leave video sign is. Nice.
Might be right.
And sorry, you don't have to push that yet. If there's anything,
you
Nathan,
on the
closing
right-hand
comment, Lyle,
side.
anything to close out with. But thanks for jumping on.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. But I don't see that. I'm moving myself out of the way, and there's nowhere where it says leave video. There's a sign up in the top left. It's 28 minutes. Over in the right says there's 84%, or whatever that means. 3 people on board: Nathan Holt, Ben Schaefer, and myself. That's it.
Yeah, on our screen, it's right below your smiling face. There's a little, looks like a telephone, and it's red.
There's
It
a
says
red
leave.
button that has telephone.
But maybe you don't have that
handle on it. So should I push it?
You'll push that, and then you'll be gone.
Okay.
Yeah, and then but then just stay in the app
so
there, because it has to upload.
So I'll hit the red button.
The video.
Just hit
If
the
you
red
close the
button and
app,
do
then
nothing
we lose it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, and just let
You
it
guys
sit,
have a great
and then we'll
Western
shoot
Thank
you a
you.
text when you're
Okay, take care.
uploaded.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
And now it
Yeah,
says
you bet.
leave studio. So
Thanks.
can I hit that?
Bye-bye.
There we go.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Nice. I'll hit stop.